Most people think they're running out of time, but the truth is, they're just spending it on things that don't pay them back. What if your hours could grow like money in the bank? What if time, when invested right, could compound into success so large that even your past self wouldn't recognize you? Let me start with a simple truth. You don't run out of time, you mismanage it. Every day, life hands you 24 golden hours, equal in quantity, unequal in value. Some turn it into growth, progress, mastery. Others turn it into distraction, excuses, and regret. Think of your time like a financial account. Every choice you make is either an investment or an expense. The problem is, most people treat time like loose change, spending it carelessly and wondering why they're always bankrupt of results. But a few wise individuals, they understand the secret that time, when invested, compounds just like money. Now here's the question that separates the average from the exceptional. How do you make your time compound? How do you turn minutes into milestones and hours into legacies? In this session, I want to share with you a method that transforms your relationship with time forever. It's a principle so simple that most overlook it, yet so powerful that it can multiply your success in ways effort alone never could. So, if you've ever said, "I wish I had more time," this message is your wake-up call. Because you don't need more time, you just need to learn how to invest it right. Most people never take the time to realize that time itself is the greatest form of capital. They wake up, rush through their day, and before they know it, another 24 hours have slipped through their fingers, leaving nothing of value behind. But if you could only understand that your hours are not for spending, they are for investing, everything about your life would begin to change. The wealthy don't treat time like coins that can be tossed around casually. They treat it like shares in their own future. Every decision, every conversation, every hour has a cost and a return. The question isn't whether you have time. The question is what kind of return you are getting from it. Think of it this way. If someone gave you $1 million and said, you have to spend it in 24 hours, you'd plan carefully where every cent would go. Yet each day, life gives you something far more valuable, 24 hours of possibility, and most people spend it as if it were worthless. That's the tragedy of wasted time. When you start seeing time as capital, you begin to think differently about your days. You start noticing where it leaks away. You realize that idle scrolling, gossiping, complaining, or doing work that adds no future value are like investments in a sinking ship. Every wasted hour is an expense that yields no profit. But when you invest time into growth, learning, planning, or building, you're placing your hours into something that multiplies. Just as a wise investor studies markets before investing money, a wise person studies their habits before investing time. They ask, where are my hours going? What kind of return am I expecting from this? If your time doesn't give you returns in wisdom, health, relationships, or results, you are not investing, you're spending. Think of each hour as a seed. You can either eat it now or plant it. If you eat it, the pleasure is immediate, but the return is gone forever. If you plant it, you wait, you nurture, and one day, it grows into something that feeds you for a lifetime. That's what makes the difference between the successful and the struggling. The successful understand delayed gratification. They're willing to plant their hours into the soil of discipline, knowing the harvest will come later. Every book you read, every hour you spend on learning a skill, every moment you devote to reflection is a seed of time that compounds into a forest of achievement. It's fascinating how two people can live the same number of hours and produce entirely different results. One spends evenings in front of the television. Another spends them creating, studying, or planning. 10 years later, one wonders where life went wrong, and the other enjoys the fruits of compounded time. The hours were equal, but the investments were not. That's why it's not the calendar that creates success. It's the choices within it. You don't need more time. You just need better priorities. Every day is an investment opportunity disguised as routine. When you treat time as capital, you begin to respect small moments. You understand that a few minutes, properly invested, can change everything. 5 minutes of reflection before you start your day can direct your entire morning. 10 minutes of journaling can bring clarity that saves you hours of confusion. 15 minutes of learning daily can make you an expert in 5 years. But because time doesn't come with a bill or a receipt, people treat it lightly. They don't see what they're losing because the cost is invisible until the results show up or fail to. When the years pass and success doesn't, that's when the bill for wasted time finally arrives. Investing time requires awareness, and awareness begins with observation. Look at your schedule as a financial statement. Which parts of your day yield the highest return? Which activities drain your energy, your focus, or your potential? If a task produces no learning, no progress, no joy, it's a bad investment. Replace it. Shift your hours toward things that multiply your value. Reading a powerful book, exercising, planning your week, practicing gratitude, developing a skill. These are investments that yield dividends in every area of life. They improve your health, expand your mind, and strengthen your character. They don't just consume time, they create it, because better performance always gives you back more hours than you spend. One of the great secrets of achievers is that they compound their time through systems. They automate the routine so they can focus on what compounds. They don't try to control every minute, but they ensure every minute counts. When you systemize your habits, you turn discipline into dividends. The small decisions, waking up early, planning your day, setting priorities, act as automatic deposits into your success account. You don't have to think about them daily. They pay you back quietly over time. And the beauty of it is that once your investments become habits, they no longer cost effort. They start paying you in momentum. The poorest people in the world aren't those without money. They're those who waste their time chasing what doesn't matter. They buy distractions with their hours, trading purpose for pleasure. The wealthy in time, however, are rich in focus. They understand that every yes to something meaningless is a no to something valuable. They live intentionally, guarding their time the way a banker guards a vault. They don't give their hours away easily because they know the power of compounding is lost in inconsistency. Every wasted day breaks the chain of growth. Every careless choice delays the harvest. Start thinking like an investor of time. You have a portfolio: work, relationships, health, growth, rest. Each demands your hours, but not all yield the same return. Your job may give you income, but your learning gives you leverage. Your rest may recharge you, but your goals define direction. Balance is not about equal hours, it's about proportional value. A good investor knows that some investments are short-term, some are long-term. Likewise, some hours are for immediate results, like your daily tasks, while others are long-term compounding hours, like learning, planning, or building something of your own. Knowing the difference is the essence of time intelligence. When you start viewing time as capital, procrastination loses its power. You stop saying, "I'll do it later," because you know later has its own costs. Every delay is an opportunity missed to compound growth. Successful people don't waste time because they understand what it's worth. They've calculated the interest on each hour. They know that 1 hour used well today can save 10 hours tomorrow. They know that investing 1 hour in health now prevents years of illness later. They understand that every disciplined choice is an insurance policy for the future. Time, when invested wisely, multiplies in invisible ways. The skill you practice today doesn't just improve your ability, it expands your confidence, your reputation, and your opportunities. The book you read today might not pay you tomorrow, but one idea from that book could double your income in a year. That's the silent compounding of time. It works quietly, without applause, without recognition, until one day it's impossible not to notice. People will call you lucky, but it won't be luck. It will be compounded discipline disguised as destiny. So take inventory of your time. Audit your days. Remove the low return activities. Allocate your hours as carefully as you would allocate your money. When you begin to treat your time as the most valuable investment you'll ever make, you stop living reactively and start living deliberately. Each hour becomes a decision. Each decision a seed, each seed a future. And in that moment, your time stops being something you spend and starts being something that pays you back for life. Consistency is the force that makes time multiply. You see, anyone can work hard for a day, anyone can stay focused for a week, but the rewards of life belong to those who can stay disciplined for years. Success doesn't come from doing extraordinary things once in a while. It comes from doing ordinary things with extraordinary consistency. The person who learns to repeat the right actions daily will always outperform the person who moves in bursts of enthusiasm and then disappears into laziness. That's the principle of time compounding. It's not about how much effort you give in a single moment. It's about how consistently you invest that effort over time. The truth is, the smallest actions, repeated daily, create the largest outcomes. Reading 10 pages a day may seem small, but over a year, that's more than 600 pages, 10 to 15 books. Writing one paragraph a day can produce a book in a year. Exercising for 20 minutes daily can reshape your health completely. But because these actions seem insignificant in the moment, people dismiss them. They think change must come in grand gestures. But time rewards the consistent, not the dramatic. The person who makes slow progress every day is building momentum, while the person who waits for motivation is starting over again and again. The power of compounding doesn't lie in what you do once. It lies in what you refuse to stop doing. Every time you repeat a positive habit, you're stacking a brick in the foundation of your future. At first, it seems like nothing is changing. That's why most quit. They can't see the results yet, but beneath the surface, growth is accumulating. It's like heating water. From 30 degrees to 99 degrees, it looks the same, still water. But at 100 degrees, it boils. Consistency creates that boiling point. Without it, you never get steam, and without steam, you never get power. You must understand that consistency isn't about perfection. It's about persistence. You don't need to do everything right. You just need to keep showing up. Success doesn't require intensity, it requires discipline. A few focused hours every day will outwork days of chaos and random effort. But to sustain consistency, you need clarity, clarity of purpose, clarity of priorities. Without it, you'll always drift. Consistency is the rhythm of purpose. It's not driven by emotion, but by commitment. Emotion fades, commitment stays. Those who master consistency treat it like a system, not a mood. They don't wake up asking, "Do I feel like it today?" They wake up saying, "It's what I do." When your habits become identity, consistency becomes automatic. You stop fighting with yourself because your actions align with who you believe you are. The artist paints because he is an artist, not because he feels inspired. The disciplined person trains because that's who they are, not because the gym feels exciting that day. You cannot rely on motivation. It's too unpredictable. Consistency lives in routine, not in inspiration. The challenge with consistency is that results come later. There's a delay between planting and harvesting. This delay is where most people quit. They start learning a skill, but after a few weeks of slow progress, they abandon it. They start saving money, but when the numbers seem too small, they give up. They start building a habit, but when it feels uncomfortable, they retreat. They fail to understand that consistency compounds slowly. Then suddenly, just like interest grows quietly before it explodes, your effort grows invisibly until one day it's undeniable. The secret is to stay long enough for time to reward you. Consistency isn't only about doing. It's about protecting. You protect your routines like an investor protects his assets. You guard your time, your energy, and your focus. You design your environment to make consistency easy. You remove distractions that tempt you to break the chain. You schedule your priorities, not your excuses. You understand that every interruption in consistency resets the compounding curve. Missing one day is normal. Missing two is a warning. Missing three is a pattern. That's why the great ones don't aim to be perfect. They aim to never miss twice. There's another secret about consistency. It creates identity through proof. Every time you act consistently, you build evidence of who you are. When you wake up early, you're proving to yourself that you're disciplined. When you choose learning over distraction, you're proving that growth matters to you. That proof creates belief, and belief sustains consistency. The more consistent you are, the more confident you become in your ability to persist. The more confident you are, the easier it is to stay consistent. That's the cycle of compound confidence. Imagine two people starting on the same day. One does something productive every single day, just one small act. The other does it occasionally when motivation hits. After a month, the difference is small. After a year, it's noticeable. After 5 years, it's a completely different life. The first person built a fortress of discipline. The second person built excuses. Time multiplies both effort and neglect. Whatever you feed it, it grows. Feed it consistency, and you grow success. Feed it inconsistency, and you grow regret. But consistency also requires patience. The world today glorifies speed. Everyone wants quick results, fast fame, overnight transformation. But real change moves slower than you expect and lasts longer than you imagine. The oak tree takes years to grow, but once it's strong, no storm can move it. The quick bamboo grows fast, but falls easily. That's the difference between shallow effort and deep consistency. When you stay consistent long enough, you don't just get results, you become unshakable. Discipline is the bridge between desire and consistency. Without discipline, desire fades. Every time you feel lazy but do it anyway, you strengthen your discipline muscle. Every time you push through resistance, you expand your capacity to endure. Eventually, what was once hard becomes normal. That's the point when consistency becomes effortless. Most people never reach that point because they quit too early. They never experience the compounding power of repetition. But the moment you decide to stay, to repeat, to persist, you enter a rare space where time starts working for you. Consistency doesn't mean never resting. Rest is part of consistency. Just as an athlete alternates between training and recovery, a wise person alternates between effort and renewal. You rest not to escape work, but to return stronger. Consistency thrives when energy is managed, not when it's exhausted. You schedule breaks, but you never break the pattern of growth. That's the balance that creates longevity. One of the greatest advantages of consistency is that it creates predictability. You no longer rely on luck because your habits guarantee progress. You know that if you keep investing an hour daily in your craft, mastery is inevitable. If you keep nurturing your relationships, trust is inevitable. If you keep exercising, health is inevitable. Time simply multiplies what you repeatedly do. It's a law, not a mystery. The problem is, most people underestimate the future and overestimate the present. They want visible results instantly, not realizing that success is just invisible effort compounded over time. The work you do in silence, the habits you build when no one is watching, the patience you show when progress is slow. These are all invisible deposits that one day erupt into visible success. The world will see the explosion, not the quiet persistence that created it. You must fall in love with the process, not the reward. When you enjoy the act of showing up, you stop counting the days. You stop looking for external validation. You do it because it's part of who you are. That's the essence of true consistency. It's not forced, it's natural. When you reach that level, time becomes your ally. It starts multiplying your work, your skill, your reputation, your influence. Consistency turns time from an expense into an investor in your future. Even on the days you don't feel progress, remind yourself that growth is happening beneath the surface. Every repetition is wiring new patterns into your mind. Every habit repeated is strengthening the structure of your future. You may not see the compounding daily, but it's there, quietly accumulating power. Then one day, the results appear suddenly, and everyone calls it success. But you'll know it wasn't sudden. It was time honoring your consistency. The wealthy don't guard their time because they're stingy. They guard it because they understand it's life itself. They know that money lost can be regained, but time once gone is gone forever. Every moment, every hour, every day carries a cost, and the wise treat it as such. Most people are careless with their time because they can't see it slipping away. It doesn't make noise when it leaves, and that's what makes it dangerous. You can't hear the ticking cost of wasted minutes. But those who respect time treat it as sacred. They know that the clock doesn't stop for anyone, and they live with the awareness that each passing second either serves their vision or steals from it. When you start guarding your time like the wealthy guard their money, you become selective. You start saying no without guilt. You stop letting other people's priorities become your emergencies. You realize that the more valuable your time becomes, the fewer people should have access to it. You can't let everyone withdraw from your time account. You have to set limits. Some people waste your minutes with their gossip, their negativity, or their distractions. Every time you allow it, you make a silent trade. You give away your opportunity for their entertainment. The wealthy in time know better. They protect their focus as if their life depends on it, because in many ways, it does. Time is the great equalizer, yet only the wise turn it into leverage. The difference between those who achieve and those who wish lies in how carefully they spend their hours. The wealthy don't just plan their finances, they plan their calendars. They block time for thinking, for creating, for building relationships that matter. They know that the schedule reflects the values. If your calendar doesn't align with your goals, your life won't either. They understand that the return on time is determined not by activity, but by effectiveness. You can be busy all day and still accomplish nothing. Business is the tax you pay for not being strategic with your hours. To guard your time, you must first know its worth. Most people undervalue their time because they've never calculated it. If you earn a living, your time already has a measurable value, but your true value is far beyond what someone pays you. Think of what your hours could produce if fully invested in your growth, your craft, your goals. Once you see that, it becomes impossible to give your hours away cheaply. You stop exchanging your time for approval, for comfort, or for meaningless distractions. You begin to spend time as an investor spends money, strategically, deliberately, and with an eye on the long-term return. Guarding your time also means removing what doesn't multiply your life. Every unnecessary meeting, every shallow conversation, every hour of mindless entertainment, all of these are withdrawals from your most precious account. You must become a gatekeeper. You must ask yourself before every commitment, does this align with my purpose? Will it bring growth, joy, or progress? If not, decline it. The cost of saying yes to everything is saying no to what truly matters. The wealthy understand this. They don't let others dictate their schedules because they know their goals can't be reached with scattered attention. They've learned the art of focus through elimination. You must also guard your time from mental thieves. Worry, regret, overthinking. These are invisible robbers that drain your hours without you noticing. You can't invest time wisely when your mind is trapped in what-ifs. The wealthy in spirit and discipline protect their minds as fiercely as they protect their calendars. They set mental boundaries. They don't dwell on what can't be changed. They use their energy on solutions, not problems. They've learned that clarity is a multiplier of time. When your mind is clear, every task takes half the effort. When it's cluttered, even small tasks feel heavy. Protecting your time means protecting your peace. Guarding your time isn't selfish. It's essential. If you don't value your time, no one else will. The world will always ask for more than you can give. People will fill your schedule if you don't fill it yourself. To live effectively, you must design your days. You must decide in advance how your hours will be spent and then defend that plan. The wealthy plan their mornings, their routines, their creative time. They treat focus as sacred territory. They eliminate interruptions because they understand that every distraction breaks the compounding effect of deep work. One interruption may only take a minute, but the cost to regain focus could be 10 times more. Another secret of those who master time is that they delegate. They know that not every task deserves their direct attention. They value leverage. They build systems, hire help, automate processes, all to protect their mental energy for high-value work. They understand that just because they can do something doesn't mean they should. Their time is best spent where their unique skills and vision matter most. The poor mindset says, I can save money by doing it myself. The wealthy mindset says, I can save time by letting others handle it. The first looks at cost, the second looks at opportunity. The latter wins every time because time saved today compounds into power tomorrow. Guarding your time also requires courage, the courage to disappoint others, to walk away from distractions disguised as obligations, to protect your solitude when the world demands your attention. Solitude is where ideas grow, where reflection sharpens perspective, and where clarity blooms. Many avoid solitude because it feels uncomfortable, but those who embrace it find that their greatest breakthroughs happen in quiet hours. That's why the wealthy protect their mornings, their evenings, their thinking time. They know that a distracted mind can't create a focused life. The way you guard your time sends a message to the world about how you value yourself. When you respect your own schedule, others learn to respect it too. When you say no firmly, you create space for the yeses that matter. When you stop allowing low-value activities to invade your day, high-value opportunities begin to appear. Time respect attracts time respecters. You start surrounding yourself with people who also live intentionally. Together, you multiply each other's growth. You also learn to differentiate between urgent and important. The world will always throw urgent things at you. Emails, notifications, minor problems. But urgency is a thief. Importance is what compounds. The wealthy spend time on what is important even when it isn't urgent. They invest hours in thinking, planning, strategizing. They know that an hour of planning can save 10 hours of execution. The poor in time rush into action without direction. The rich in time slow down to think, and because of that, they move faster in the long run. Guarding your time means choosing significance over noise. Time management isn't about filling every minute, it's about maximizing every moment. You don't have to be busy all day. You have to be intentional. The wealthy don't chase activity, they chase impact. They know that 10 minutes of focused action can outperform hours of distraction. That's why they plan their peak energy hours for their most important work. They align their environment to protect their flow. They understand that time invested in concentration produces exponential results. Finally, to guard your time, you must be grateful for it. Gratitude sharpens awareness. When you see time as a gift, you stop wasting it. You wake up with a sense of urgency, not stress but purpose. You stop saying, I'll do it someday, because you realize someday is a thief that steals today. The wealthy in mindset live fully in the present. They don't chase every opportunity. They choose the right ones. They don't run after everything that glitters. They stay anchored to what grows. They don't just live by the clock. They live by priorities. And when you begin to live that way, time no longer controls you. It works for you, multiplying every focused hour into a legacy that outlives the days you spent building it